Israel's new unity government, which of course is run by Benjamin Netanyahu and Benny Gantz, going to go ahead with this plan, do you think?
Well, I think it certainly would like to, because if you look at the situation over the past few days, they've actually signed an agreement, a coalition agreement covering two issues. One of them is dealing together with the COVID-19 outbreak in Israel, and the other one is to push ahead with the annexation of about 30% of the West Bank. Now, that might appear to be quite obvious in the case of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his Likud party. He's keen to keep on board the far-right parties who have backed him up over the last few years in his previous coalition governments. But it may seem a little bit strange concerning Benny Gantz of the Blue and White movement, who is deemed to be more of a centrist. The two men didn't get on with each other. There have been three elections over the past year. There have been no outcome, so that's why they're forced into this coalition agreement since the last election at the beginning of March. Benjamin Netanyahu saying that Benny Gantz was not fit to run the country, and Benny Gantz previously saying that Benjamin Netanyahu was just a crook who is facing corruption charges. So the two men are running the country. And a lot of observers thought they would not agree on this annexation process, but they appear to have done so by signing this agreement. Benny Gantz saying that he is in favour if the international community is in favour, but of course they have so far said they're not. So what does this agreement mean? Well, basically, it's going to annex vast amounts of the east of the West Bank along the Jordan Valley, bringing 30% of the West Bank under the control of Israel, under Israeli sovereignty. That's how they'd like to see it. That means 700,000 Israeli settlers will also be guaranteed sovereignty of Israel over where they live. And it will also put under control of Israel some 200 Palestinian communities. So you can imagine this has gone down pretty badly with the Palestinians.
And what's the international reaction been like to all of this, Philip?
Well, first of all, the United States, where this peace agreement was hatched and announced earlier this year by Donald Trump, well, they have said that it's up to the Israelis to push ahead with that. That was what the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said earlier this week. In other words, more or less just washing their hands of the issue, leaving the Israelis to go ahead with it. But you have to remember that this peace deal was hatched by Donald Trump and Jared Kushner, the president's nephew or son-in-law, and many people say this was an electioneering issue for Donald Trump to bring in the white evangelist movement in the United States who are in favor of Israeli control of the whole of the West Bank, and also to bring in the Israeli and Jewish vote in the United States. Elsewhere, there's been a much more lukewarm reception to this and quite a hostile reaction from the United Nations, who warned, as you said in your intro, that this is going to be a serious blow to the two-state solution that was worked out under the Oslo Accords of September 1993. That's the same echo coming from the European Union, who warned against Israel taking any annexation over of the east of the West Bank and any parts of the West Bank, saying this could seriously undermine any hopes of not only peace in the Middle East, peace process with the Palestinians, but in the whole region. And therefore, they are not in favor of any of this taking place.